What up, guys, and welcome back to Thomas Reacts here on the 360 experience with myself, Thomas Maba. So it looks like things are moving pretty fast there in Zimbabwe, because we've learned that today, on Monday, the 4th of September 2023, Mnangagwa has decided that today it is the day for him to get inaugurated. We've also learned that President Ramaphosa of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, will be attending the illegitimate inauguration of an illegitimate president who stole power right in front of everyone's eyes. The man who got to power by staging a military coup against his predecessor. That is the man that the president of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, will be supporting today. I think it is important for people to understand that President Ramaphosa, he is not in Zimbabwe on behalf of South Africans. He is in Zimbabwe because he is the friend of Mnangagwa. He is in Zimbabwe because the ANC is the friend of Zanu-Pf. He is not there on behalf of South Africans because South Africans are not supporting what Zanu-Pf is doing in Zimbabwe. South Africans are not in support of Mnangagwa and his tyranny government that resulted to Zimbabwe being scattered all across the world. South Africans are not happy about that. South Africans today are complaining about the issue of illegal immigration, and a large part of it has to do with people who come from Zimbabwe, and people need to understand that Zimbabweans didn't come to South Africa because they like. Zimbabweans came to South Africa because they are seeking for a better life. Zimbabweans are sick and tired of being brutally murdered and slaughtered by this apartheid regime of Zanu-Pf. But today, the African National Congress President Cyril Ramaphosa has decided that he is going to attend the inauguration of Mnangagwa. So guys, today I have this reaction from Gambakwe media. They are there in Zimbabwe. This guy, I love him so much because he's doing such a wonderful job. He is going to break it down to us. Why is everything so rushed in Zimbabwe? Why is Mnangagwa so fast? Why does he want to do anything so fast? He's going to tell us about the internal politics of Zanu-Pf and everything that has been taking place right there in Zimbabwe. So guys, I hope that you are going to stay with me. Let's hear what the Gambakwe media has for us today.
Right, 1 September 20, and today I'm handling a topic that I thought I would never be handling ever in my life as a Zimbabwean, speaking from the position where I have been covering many events in Zimbabwe's political history, and what we are seeing in Zimbabwe right now has never been seen anywhere in the history of our country. And sometimes I wonder if President Mnangagwa has got advisors who advise him what to do, or if he's just now doing things by himself without asking other people. What has happened today is amazing, because there has been an announcement that there's going to be an inauguration of President Mnangagwa on Monday. So that is just in a day and a half from today. There's going to be the inauguration of President Mnangagwa.
And guys, when he said that will be a day from today, this video was out on Saturday, so don't mistake it for like Wednesday. This video was shot on Saturday, so when he meant a day or a day and a half from today, he was talking about this Monday, today, because this video.
And what is strange about this inauguration is that only certain countries are going to be able to attend, or presidents of those countries are going to be able to attend, because if your president is not attending, diplomats are not allowed to attend. That's one of the conditions, and you'll be able to see the letter if you go anywhere on Facebook. But that is not the worst of it all. The rush to inaugurate by President Mnangagwa has taken every Zimbabwean by surprise. And that includes the closest people close to President Mnangagwa. They did not know about this inauguration. I talked to some people earlier today, and you remember that we put out the story that the inauguration, they are getting ready for the inauguration. And many of them did not believe it. They were taken by surprise when that letter went out of invitations. People were being invited to come to the inaugurations. The end result is that there's going to be an inauguration that you have never seen before. where President Mnangagwa is probably going to be by himself, without all the other presidents from the nearby countries. And this comes amid the negotiations and mediation by SADC. SADC are still trying to assist Zimbabwe to get out of the situation where it is. But President Mnangagwa has already rushed and is going to be inaugurated. He's basically inaugurating himself before getting the blessings of his closest friends who are in the region, and he's isolating himself like never before. If you ask yourself why he's doing this, there is no. I'll tell you how bad this is. In the history of Zimbabwe, there has only been one election where the inauguration took place the way that this inauguration is taking place. And that was in 2008, after the runoff, 92 days to announce the results of the first election, which was in March 2008. When he did the election by himself, he then inaugurated himself in 2 days. So the election by President Mnangagwa now and the inauguration is going to be the second fastest inauguration in Zimbabwe. So let's go to other elections. 1980, it took 51 days. 1996, it took 21 days. 2002, it took 6 days. That was probably the first time that Morgan Tsvangirai contested Mugabe. And as I said, 2008, it took 92 days for Mugabe to release the results. And then after he contested by himself, it took 2 days for him to inaugurate himself.
It's insane, guys. Just imagine 2 days.
My apologies there. My electricity is just about to go. Lucky for me, I put on my backup power. So today we're going to be able to continue. So the main electricity is going to go, but I'll still be able to function. So I was still saying 2013, it took 22 days. 2018, it took 27 days. And as you know, President Mnangagwa has been to Kenya, where other presidents were being inaugurated. He's been to all these countries. South Africa was here for the inauguration. But in this particular case, President Mnangagwa is going alone. Today or yesterday, he was at the agricultural show without any other president, by himself. For the first time in the history of the agricultural show, it was opened locally. So now let's look at why this is a problem. It's a problem because it's showing that President Mnangagwa is no longer listening to anybody. So let's take, for example, the guys who are from SADC, who are saying, negotiate, talk to each other, have an internal agreement. President Mnangagwa is telling them, I'm not listening to that, I'm going ahead. Whatever you say after this, it's your own business. I'm in charge of this country, and I'm going ahead. That's basically what he's saying. And you must also understand what it means when he's in the second term and he's behaving in this way. And you know that in Zimbabwe, there's never been a president in his current position. So his position is that he is now what we call a lame duck president. In America, they try to legislate so that they don't have that. A lame duck president is one who has not been inaugurated when there is an existing president. So in this current situation, because there's a dispute, there is a possibility that President Mnangagwa might be forced by mediators not to be in place when the negotiations are taking place. And I think this is one of his biggest fears. But to make matters worse, he is in his last term, something that has never happened in Zimbabwe. There's never been a president who we knew that this was his last term, who finished his term. So there is a very, very big likelihood that what he's doing now is alienating people very, very close to him in Zanu-Pf. Because imagine what will happen if he becomes president, right? He knows automatically that he's going to be the next president. Because in Zanu-Pf, there's hierarchy. You can't pass the hierarchy. So right now, we all know that Chiwenga is going to be the next president. If you inaugurate yourself as the president, the next guy is going to come in. Chiwenga knows that coming in, and he's going to make sure that he starts building his kingdom under you. And if he's broken all these relationships with people inside that, people within the country, he has refused to negotiate with everybody. He has created a situation for himself, which, if something happens, people will be justified to say, that guy was not popular anyway. People do not want him. So this is the very, very big problem that we have with the situation that has happened today in Zimbabwe. The announcement of the inauguration in an unprecedented less than 5 days, and during negotiations which are being mediated by SADC, the SADC elders. I think they left, or they're still in Zimbabwe. They have been very low key, but this is happening now. Everyone deeply disappointed by what is happening. The failure to negotiate, the failure to see that this is going to plunge the country into a period that we've never seen before. Economically, politically, Zimbabwe is going to be plunged into an unprecedented time. You've never seen what is going to happen in Zimbabwe. And remember, I've been telling you over the past few weeks that
And guys, what is so sad, especially to us as South Africans, is seeing our president supporting this kind of nonsense, guys. Like, it is so painful for us as South Africans, man. It is so painful. I'm telling you, man, it is so painful to us as South Africans to see our president supporting what's happening in Zimbabwe, man. He openly supports what's happening in Zimbabwe. He is not ashamed about it. He's not ashamed about it, man. It is so painful to South Africans, especially the poor South Africans, man, who are mostly affected by the issue of immigration in the country. Poor South Africans are the ones who are mainly affected by the issue of immigration in South Africa, man. But our leaders, they keep supporting these people who are responsible for what's happening in Zimbabwe. President Ramaphosa is supporting a man who is responsible for the decline of Zimbabwe, the man who is responsible for making Zimbabweans run away from their own countries, only to be treated like second-class citizens wherever they are. This is the man that the president of South Africa is supporting, man. I am so sad right now as a South African to see. I am so sad as a South African to see our president support this kind of nonsense, man. Honestly, I am so sad. I am so sad because even yesterday the ANC was doing its 2019 manifesto. The young leader there, that idiotic young leader of the ANC Youth League, said that the president must unleash the military army on the foreigners in the country. Just imagine that, guys. The same ANC that is supporting Zanu-Pf, the same ANC that is fine with opening up our borders so everyone can get in, they are now campaigning with the same issue that they themselves supported. These guys are supporting Zimbabwe, are supporting Zanu-Pf. These guys are supporting Mnangagwa. These guys are okay with millions of Zimbabweans be scattered all across the world only to be treated like second-class citizens. But you guess what? In South Africa right now, they are calling for the president to unleash the army on the same people who came to South Africa to seek for a better life. If that doesn't make you mad as a South African man, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you, man? How can President Ramaphosa support Mnangagwa, support Zanu-Pf, and the actions of Zanu-Pf results to Zimbabweans running away from their own countries, coming to South Africa, going to Lesotho, going to Malawi, going to Swaziland? The actions of Zanu-Pf resulted to Zimbabweans running away from their own country. The Zimbabweans are coming to South Africa. The same ANC wants the president to unleash the military on these people who came to South Africa to seek for a better life. So what do you want to happen to Zimbabweans, man? If you support a regime that oppresses Zimbabweans, if you support a regime that is responsible for Zimbabweans being scattered all across the world, when those people come to you, you want to unleash the military on those same people. Man, what is wrong with us, man? What is wrong with us, man? What is wrong with us, man? How can you ask the president of South Africa to unleash the military on the foreigners that come to South Africa, whereas South Africa and the president of South Africa supports what's happening in Zimbabwe? If the president of South Africa supports what's happening in Zimbabwe, the African National Congress should be okay with the fact that Zimbabweans are going to come to South Africa to seek for a better life. But now that Zimbabweans are coming to South Africa to seek for a better life, the African National Congress says that the president must unleash the army on these foreign nationals in the country. Man, what is wrong with us, man? What is wrong with us, man? What is wrong with South Africa, man? What is wrong with us, man? What is wrong with President Ramaphosa, man? What is wrong with the ANC? Why can't they just do what is right, man?
You're going to see now, you've never seen before. But I think here President Mnangagwa has sabotaged himself because he's losing friends inside the country, inside Zanu-Pf, and outside of Zanu-Pf. Because look at what Chamisa has done. Chamisa has not challenged him in court. He's stood back. He's given dialogue a chance. And here you have the president going ahead, ignoring all advice and not allowing dialogue to take place so that we have a united country, a united government going forward, which was going to be beneficial to everybody. So, as I said, as it stands right now, President Mnangagwa is not currently inaugurated. They've gazetted it, but it's not inaugurated. The SADC is probably going to come up with a proposition that there is a transitional government because no one has accepted the elections, but he's going ahead without taking this into consideration and going ahead with the inauguration. Which takes me to the cabinet, and what I am predicting here is that given the current situation, President Mnangagwa will have to appoint completely different people into the senior leadership of the government. This means people who are very, very close to him, like the Vice President Chiwenga, they cannot expect to be in his new government as vice presidents and so forth. I think there's going to be some very, very major changes coming. People that you don't expect are going to lose their positions, and I don't know how that is going to impact his government going forward. So basically, President Mnangagwa will have to consolidate his power, because if he doesn't do so, these guys who are going to be under him are going to start building for the future. They're going to start cutting deals and say, look at this guy, what he's doing. This is not good for the country. And this is going to weaken him going forward within the next 4 to 5 years. I don't think he will be able to finish his term if he's not very, very careful about the things that he's doing now. Normally, I consider President Mnangagwa very, very strategic. But I think here, I don't know who's advising him. He's making very, very big mistakes not to negotiate, given the fact that the guys that are in opposition have not challenged him in court. This was a very, very big opportunity for him to negotiate with Nelson Chamisa, to remove the polarization in the country, and to move forward and leave a legacy for himself. But now he's going to have a very, very big challenge ahead of him. So I see this as the beginning of the end, but we're in for a big, big drama in Zimbabwe, especially within Zanu-Pf. You're going to see a lot of big names being dropped from President Mnangagwa's cabinet. If he doesn't do so, then it will be him who's going to have the reverse happening on him. The new guys who are coming in, they're not going to allow him to sit at the top while things collapse. So this is something that you need to watch very, very closely. So if I was Zimbabweans, what would I do? Zimbabweans currently, I don't think they should sit back and allow what is happening now to continue. And this is where I'm saying Zimbabweans are sitting back. They expect Nelson Chamisa to do everything.
The first thing that Zimbabweans need to do, especially Zimbabweans that are in Zimbabwe, man, they need to go to that stadium and say no more. And say no more. That's what they need to do. They need to say no more. Because my brother is telling the truth here. Like, Chamisa can fight all he wants, but if Zimbabweans are not going to stand behind him and say no more, nothing's going to happen. So I think they really need to express their dissatisfaction with Mnangagwa with this inauguration. Humiliate him in front of the world, man. The world will be watching this illegitimate guy when he inaugurates himself, and our president will be standing next to him, making everything look like it's legit. It is not legit, man. It is not legit, man. Like I said earlier on, man, President Ramaphosa is not in Zimbabwe on behalf of South Africans. South Africans are not in support of what Zanu-Pf. South Africans are not in support of what Zanu-Pf is doing. I hope that one is clear. South Africans are not in support of that, man. South Africans want Zimbabwe to be right, so that a lot of Zimbabweans that are in South Africa can go back home and build their own country. That's what the Zimbabweans are saying, man. Zimbabweans are saying we are not ashamed, we are not scared to work hard and build our own country. Just get rid of these corrupt guys who are making everything impossible for us. Zimbabweans want to build their own countries. Zimbabweans want to live in their own country. Zimbabweans are sick and tired of being treated like second-class citizens wherever they are. Zimbabweans are sick and tired of being exploited wherever they go, man. Just get rid of these guys who are making everything impossible for Zimbabweans. Just get rid of this party that makes everything impossible for Zimbabweans, so that Zimbabweans can go back home to build their own country, man. Zimbabweans are the hardest working men. Zimbabweans are the hard workers, man. These guys are these guys are hardworking. I live in South Africa, man. I see these people every day passing here by my house. These guys, they pass here by my house almost every day. They are selling the buckets, they are selling the brooms, they are walking around with their children. Sometimes they walk around with their women and with their family. Man, you can see a whole family walking around selling brooms, selling baskets, selling bath, like they're selling everything. These guys are in South Africa and they work hard. They work so hard. Get rid of Zanu-Pf, man, so that Zimbabweans can build their own country, man. Zimbabweans are sick and tired of living in South Africa. Zimbabweans are sick and tired of living in these other countries where they are mistreated, where they are abused and where they are exploited. Man, Zimbabweans are sick and tired of that, man. Zimbabweans are sick and tired of that, man. You know, they keep saying that if Zimbabwe is right, man, half of our problems in SADC will be okay. If Zimbabweans is okay, half of problems in SADC will be okay, man. And our president is going to stand next to Mnangagwa, man. You're going to stand next to Mnangagwa, man. That's what President Ramaphosa is going to do on behalf of South Africans, while South Africans are so pissed off about what's happening in Zimbabwe. Ramaphosa right now is going to make it look like South Africans support Zanu-Pf. South Africans support Zanu-Pf. Man, fuck, we don't support Zanu-Pf. We don't support Mnangagwa, man.
This must be totally rejected. The failure to negotiate that is happening right now in Zimbabwe must be rejected. Everyone must voice their concern about the failure to accommodate, which is happening under President Mnangagwa's government, especially given that SADC, EU, AU, everybody has said there was something wrong with these elections. So I expect Zimbabweans to act, but not to expect Nelson Chamisa to do everything. That would be strange, given what you saw yesterday, and I think we're going to discuss this with Dr. Mteneri on Sunday. There were open threats on Nelson Chamisa. If he does anything, they're going to lock him up, and we're going to have a discussion about that. I've had people who have sent me voice notes of death threats that they've been issued, and I think soon we're going to be playing those. But what is happening now, the failure to negotiate, a very bad precedent in the bad side of our country going forward. So I want to wrap this up. I know it's a Friday, and I don't want to keep people here, but you must know that if you're in Zimbabwe, what you're seeing now is the beginning of something very bad. Don't expect this to end well. It's going to end very badly. What is happening now? It's disappointing a lot of people inside and outside of Zanu-Pf, and someone is going to act very soon. So let's look at the comments here. Mkoma Samuel, I always want to start with you. Gambakwe, you're personally fighting ED. You hate him like most people given money by America. I was never given money by America. In fact, let me tell you something. Gambakwe Media has not had funding at all for the work that we're doing. When I got sick and I was in hospital for 3 months,
Why do people like saying that, man? Even the Secretary General of the ANC once stated that a Chamisa is a puppet of Americans, man. If you fight Zanu-Pf, the first thing that these guys who support Zanu-Pf says that you are supported by America, you are a puppet of Americans. So why is it the first thing that these people say whenever Mnangagwa and Zanu-Pf are facing criticism, man? Right now, Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa cannot face criticism. Zanu-Pf cannot face criticism without people accusing people of being funded by Americans, man. Why? It's absurd. Even the Secretary General of the ANC, it's absurd when he said that Chamisa is the puppet of Americans. It's absurd, man. It's absurd.
I could not pay the guys in our company, Gambakwe. At that time, we employed 30 people. And out of those 30 people, we only left 2 people after I came out of hospital. I want you to understand what I'm saying. From 30 people, we had 2 people because I could not afford to pay the people. There is no money that I've been given by anybody, the Americans, whatever. We've had to build this company from scratch. After Zanu-Pf and guys that I've forgiven, guys like Rutendo, guys like Linda Masarina, they took our company and went and minded manual. And they went and reported us falsely to Facebook. We lost channels and they were closed. I had no revenue. And this is only part of what you know. How our revenue has been affected. I can tell you more about what has happened. I've literally missed death by a whisker. But you've seen me, I have not complained. So when you talk about me, you are talking about a homegrown company, which I built with my own bare hands. I use a phone. Right now, I'm sitting in front of you on a phone. I have got no equipment at all. That is the reality of what we have. But the truth is that what is happening in Zimbabwe now, the lack of compromise, the lack of understanding of how bad things are for people. Zanu-Pf guys need to understand. They're running this thing down, the whole country into the ground.
Of course they are.
But it's not without consequence because everyone is giving them a chance. Look at Chamisa. Do you think Chamisa would not have gone to court now and delayed this whole thing? They're giving dialogue a chance. And these guys are denying this dialogue. You keep seeing America everywhere. But the mistakes are being made in Zimbabwe, not in America. America is with their own problems. And I don't blame them for anything at all. I will never blame another country for someone not negotiating within the country, someone inaugurating themselves in the middle of a sudden dialogue. That makes no sense to me. Right, let's look at a few more comments here, and then let's close this. Mata is saying, what is it going to help us? What they're talking, and I want to make it clear. Zimbabwean, young Zimbabweans, they need to take charge of this thing. Don't leave everything to Chamisa. Reject some of these things that are happening. Even Zanu-Pf guys, reject the collapse of Zanu-Pf because it's going to collapse in front of you. There's no way Zanu-Pf is going to be alive if mistakes like this are being made. But if President Mnangagwa builds a legacy, if he creates an environment for success, Zanu-Pf is going to be stronger. You saw what happened after the GNU. Mugabe won the election. He beat Trangirai. If Zanu-Pf continues the way that President Mnangagwa is doing now, there will be no Zanu-Pf. No one will want to hear about Zanu-Pf. In fact, Zanu-Pf will become a 4-letter word to people because you are not compromising and you are being a strong-headed political party that does not listen to anybody. On top of people trying to assist, I'm sure all the African leaders are looking and saying, what is happening here? They've been quiet. They've even congratulated President Mnangagwa.
Yes. And
they've privately gone out to negotiate, to try to mediate. When everyone has said the election, something is wrong about it. You know what I would do if I was President Mnangagwa? I'll grab this chance, I'll negotiate, I'll make sure that everybody's happy.
That's the problem with Mnangagwa does not believe in all these things that you guys are talking about. Mnangagwa does not believe in diplomacy. Mnangagwa does not believe in any democratic processes. I'm not even surprised that Mnangagwa wants nothing to do with the dialogue. That is the kind of a man he is. That is the kind of a man he is. I'm not surprised. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. A man who can stage a military coup against his predecessor. A man who just literally stole the election in front of everyone else. Mnangagwa already knew that these people were gonna come and these people they're gonna want the negotiations. These people they're gonna want the dialogues and everything. Mnangagwa has already made his mind up. He wants nothing of that. He wants to be the president of Zimbabwe so that they can keep plundering the Zimbabwe of its mineral resources. That's what he wants. He wants Zimbabweans gold. That's what he wants. He wants the mineral resources of that country. He wants nothing to do with all this nonsense that SADC is coming with. They are talking about the dialogue. They are talking about it. Guys, Mnangagwa doesn't want that. If it was according to Mnangagwa, even these elections would be cancelled. Even these elections would be cancelled. He just did the elections maybe to save face. But he realized later that, no, man, I shouldn't have done these elections. That's why he set his dogs to go there to polling stations to threaten people to vote for Zanu-Pf. That's why he told these people to go there to take the identity numbers of people, to take people's names and to threaten them and to tell them that we will know if you voted for Chamisa. We will know and we will punish you. People said that, man. Zimbabweans said that. There are Zimbabweans who said that we were threatened to vote for Zanu-Pf. So Mnangagwa realized after allowing these elections to happen that he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. I mean, like, how is it possible that polling stations are closed? The polling stations don't have ballot papers. But polling stations are closed early. Polling stations are not open. Like, guys, how is it possible, guys? How is this not rigging of elections? How is it not rigging of elections? Mnangagwa does not believe in democratic processes, man. Does not believe in democratic processes. That's why I'm saying it is so frustrating to us South Africans when we see Ramaphosa supporting this kind of a man, because we're like, whoa, it's 2024 next year. Is ANC planning to be the next Zanu-Pf? We don't know. Will the ANC relinquish power? We don't know.
Created that GNU that everyone is clamoring for and move forward. And not inaugurated, so it'd be the only president in that inauguration. Imagine that. On Monday, you go into that stadium and you're the only president there. That would be amazing. And it would be like a spectacle.
No, Ramaphosa will be there with him, making him look legit, man.
You have never seen anywhere in the whole world where a president inaugurates himself and there's no one else. That would be total rejection. And this is what he risks. Being rejected and humiliated in public if you do not understand the period that you are in. You risk going out in a very unceremonious way because people want Zimbabwe to do well. But what is happening now is a very, very bad problem. Gambakwe, do you foresee a coup from within Zanu-Pf? Is what happened to Mugabe. The only thing that I'm worried about is if there is a military intervention now, it won't be nice. It won't be like the way it happened, where everyone was on the streets celebrating. You guys in Zimbabwe don't understand something. The strength of President Mnangagwa is that he built a lot of relationships. And most of the guys who are in Zanu-Pf and in military and intelligence, they came from within his hands. He worked in many different ministries. So right now, there's no one who's got the same history as President Mnangagwa, who has worked in Ministry of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, who has been Speaker of Parliament, who has worked in whatever ministry. There's no ministry that President Mnangagwa hasn't worked. Defense, all that. So if a guy was to come in and take out President Mnangagwa, everything he does, he will have to enforce. You understand what I'm saying? Where President Mnangagwa can negotiate, the next guy who comes, they won't have to negotiate with you or talk to you. They will enforce. And Zimbabwe doesn't want to be in that position. You should understand what is happening with the military coups. The military coups that are happening right now, each and every one of them is based on the need to control a certain type of resource. So all the coups that are there right now, I think there have been 9 coups this year. They are something to do with controlling a resource. If it's platinum, or lithium, or whatever, that is why they are coups. So in Zimbabwe, the problem that we have is, if that happens, then you just have someone who's going to want the resources, but they won't care about the future of the country. This is where you need to avoid your country becoming a banana republic. You don't want the country to do what is happening now in Zimbabwe, where you are being told, not only by the Europeans, the Americans, the United Nations, everyone is telling you that this election was not proper. All you need to do, right now, people are not saying do anything crazy. Talk, sit down and talk, create a temporary running arrangement or a GNU or whatever. Make the opposition happy. Because I know for a fact that there can't be an election now in Zimbabwe. Ask anybody who knows Zimbabwe if it is possible to have an election today in Zimbabwe. If Chamisa went to court today, ask him if he's going to be able to have an election in a month in Zimbabwe. And you will know that he won't be able to have that election. Because the environment in Zimbabwe is not that kind of environment where you can just take ZEC as it stands today and say, let's have an election. ZEC has got no control over the elections. They've got no power. I told you what happened. You saw what happened when the guys were being thrown out. It's total arbitrary behavior that was happening in Zimbabwe during that time. And it was not as if they're ashamed that there are elections. You saw what happened when Province Nkwananzi was approached by senior intelligence officials in Harare during a press conference. And these are well-known intelligence officers. It's not like they're secret. They're senior officials. So the behavior that we have in Zimbabwe right now, if it is intervened by people who use guns, then you have a problem, because it won't end well. It will end up very badly. And don't think that you are going to have fun under a new government. That is not controlled by civilians. We need a civilian government. We need power to transfer properly. We need things to work. This is why I tell you that you need ATMs to dispense cash. If you see yourself walking in Zimbabwe, the ATMs are dispensing cash. That day you're in a country that is functioning. Go to Zambia now. I go to Zambia every month or two. See how functional things are. People in Zambia are not rich or wealthy. They are poor people there. But things function. You don't walk around afraid for your life. And as I've said to you, I've received today people who have received death threats, literal death threats, in the past week or two. And these are the kind of things that I'm talking about. You need to understand that an election must bring change, even if your government does not change. The election must bring a change in your fortunes. But the way things stand now, I don't see any direction or what is going to happen to make the things better. Okay, let's wrap up this, and I want to let you guys go. I'm concerned that Chamisa is going to court without evidence. He will lose and can be jailed. Yeah, we have a chat about that. But I don't think now it's going to be easy. I think what Chamisa might end up having is a lack of control of the situation. Chamisa is going to be in a situation where it doesn't matter that he won the election or it says he won the election. He's going to lose control. But similarly, President Mnangagwa is soon going to lose control of this situation if he's not careful and does not understand why SADC is good for him. SADC is good for President Mnangagwa. What they're doing is good for him. He must not ignore those guys. And as you can see, I will not fear at all to talk about what's happening in Zimbabwe. Because you guys, what other country do you have where you say it's my country? So where is your fear going to take you? Think about it. Help these guys, help young guys like Chamisa to make a difference. They've got a good vision of the country, of the future. Help them to help the older guys who are there in government, so that they see that working together can help. Not this behavior that they're doing, that hard line that they're taking, is taking us nowhere as a country. Right, and I think for today I'm going to stand here, I'm going to stop here, and we'll be back on Sunday with Dr. Fedas Mutenere. Let's watch what happens in this inauguration. But ED putting himself in a corner, and it's very unfortunate because every single one of you is going to feel the effects of these mistakes that are being made here. You cannot ignore everyone and go and get away with it. You have to listen to someone. And a good place to start would be to listen to Sadiq and make sure that Zimbabwe does well, and make sure that President Mnangagwa leaves a legacy. If he does not see this, you end up not leaving a legacy here after a lot of things go wrong in our country. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And I know it's a Friday. I apologize for doing this. Normally, you see that I don't broadcast on Friday. I don't stream on Friday. But today it was a very special emergency broadcast. I cannot believe that the guys in Zanu-Pf think it's a good idea to have an inauguration such a few days and during negotiations. I do not think so. I don't think they'll get away with this one. Let's see. Let's watch and see. But very, very bad idea. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and good night.
So guys, what do you think about that, man? What do you think about that analysis, man? Personally, I believe that it is a great analysis, man. What's happening in Zimbabwe, man? It's a tragedy, man. Please, guys, tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.